If you're not watching Christian Hannah Horror, what are you doing?
You can support me on Patreon for just $1 a month.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Christian Hannah Horror here with another interview, a horror guest, and this guy is not a horror fanatic, so you're probably saying, why is he here? Well, this is a good reason he's here. Daniel is a guy I work with, and I have exposed him to a world of horror, and I wanted to get his take. This is going to be interesting because Daniel never knew a horror fanatic before me, so I'm going to be interested to see what his perception was of a horror fan before meeting somebody like me and after. So Daniel, welcome to the horror room.
Happy to be here.
What is your first impression of this room? Does it freak you out?
It doesn't necessarily freak me out. It's a very overwhelming room.
It
is everything horror, you know. Everything horror related that I ever knew from watching movies is compiled into this room.
Do you see this as just like a strange hobby you don't understand, or can you see, okay, I understand this is artful to him, or
at first sight, at first discussion of you being a horror fan with me, I thought that is a really odd hobby. That's something strange. I've never heard of such, but since I've watched deeper into it with you, I understand like it's its own world. It's a totally sit to the side world where everyone in the horror world has their own thing.
Okay, so what was your... Do I seem like a typical horror fan to you? Do you think I'm an anomaly? What was your perception of fans, like, before meeting me? Did you think they were just these weird people that wore black and stuff?
Yeah. I guess I stereotyped what a horror fan would be, you know, into gore, living in a dark room, and having strange habits. But now I realize, like, watching your show, I see that horror fans are all different kinds of people.
And I'm definitely not going to say there aren't people that wear black.
I'm not going to say there's not strange people in this world. There's strange people in every part of the world. But it's more normal than I thought.
That's something for me as well, dude, because when I found out there was an audience for this on YouTube, it blew me away. But there's an audience for everything. That's an audience for people who like collecting cereal boxes, you know?
Exactly. Like, before I met you, when I thought horror, I thought, okay, Friday the 13th movie, you know, whatever. I didn't think any deeper than going to the theater watching the movie. I didn't think about people who know the director, who know where it was shot, who know where the mask came from. I didn't think of all that.
Right.
You know, I thought about, okay, here's the movie. It's on TV. Bam, I watched it. It was scary, great.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Like, what, especially, like, did you have an introduction to horror as a kid? Was it never something in the house? Was it just something so nonchalant, never creeped in your mind? Or did you ever say, I'm a horror fan?
As a child, it was a seasonal thing. When do you watch horror movies? Around Halloween.
Halloween.
Halloween rolls around, everybody breaks out the mask, everybody gets their stuff put on, and you watch, every night there's a different horror movie on for a week before Halloween or a month before Halloween.
Right.
And you kind of get your horror on, everybody's scared, and then it kind of just dwindled away as a child.
Right.
But now I realize this is like a year-round thing for people.
The Halloween is year, and this time of year is so great. I mean, especially with the horror community.
Yeah,
we all
it's
just go
August,
nuts.
and people are all like, yeah.
That's when it feels, to me, that's when it feels like Halloween. As soon as leaves start falling, it's Halloween.
Yeah, and it's like, I've learned a lot in this world. There's a lot that goes into this hobby.
Oh, man. It's just like what's your big thing? You're into what? It's like the hunting, and you're into
hunting and guns, and I actually just introduced to my wife last night that I'm a coin collector, and you may not know that about me.
I didn't know that.
I'm a coin collector, so you think your hobby's weird. Well, I have a weird one myself, but in the coin collecting world, that's not strange. But this hobby, I guess, it opened up a whole new door to me, to a world that I didn't know existed.
Right.
There are people that are professionals in horror makeup, and people that are professional mask makers that, like, no one in the world can touch their work. There's people that dedicate their whole careers to making outfits for horror movies, and artists. There's horror artists, and I didn't know. I never put into perspective all that came into a horror movie.
And especially in here, like, a lot of the stuff you see, that clown, like, that you can't buy that. I'm sure you can look at it and understand. You can't buy that at Spirit Halloween, you know?
That's not something you pick up on the back shelf of Walmart.
Absolutely.
That's not how it works.
There's an art, to me, like, there's just an art to all this, and I love it. I want to give you a little quiz. Being a non-horror fanatic,
okay.
I'm gonna give you the name of these big franchises. I just want to see if you can tell me who the main killer was.
Okay.
Okay.
This one failed miserably.
Friday the 13th,
Jason.
Do you know the last name of Jason?
Voorhees.
Do you know that because of me?
I know that strictly because of you. I know that strictly because of Instagram hashtags by Christian Hannah.
Okay. Halloween.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
He's looking right at you.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers. Okay. Do you know who the killer's name was in Scream? You know what he looks like, right?
I know what he looks like.
That's him right there. Do you know what his character's name was?
To me, he's the Scream guy. That's all
Scream
he is.
guy.
Yeah, to me, he's like the Grim Reaper.
Do you remember being a kid in the 90s? Do you remember seeing those masks every day?
Oh, everybody and their mama had one hanging from the mirror of their vehicle.
Did you see Scream as a kid, or did you just know him as the mask? Did you know the movie existed, or
I knew the movie existed, and I tell you the truth, I think my mom kind of sheltered me from some of the horror in the world as a younger child.
Right.
And I think it was one of those deals that, like, I caught it on a Saturday when mom wasn't paying attention. It came on TV, and I was like, let's see what this is all about.
And was it something you enjoyed?
Yeah.
Did it freak you out?
Well, I mean, there's no rush in the world. There's no rush you can get in the world like being scared. That's the ultimate.
It makes you feel alive.
Ultimate rush in the world. That's why people skydive, because you're scared.
That's true.
That's the ultimate rush in this world is scaring yourself.
And I'm glad you said that, because that is something I try to chase. It doesn't happen often, but that feeling of being scared. The older you get, the more you see, it's so hard.
Yeah,
but when you see a movie that freaks me out at 26 years old, man, it happens very seldomly, but it is a great feeling.
Like I can't remember what movie it was. There was some movie you watched not that long ago, and you came to work, and you were like, "That's the first time in a long time that I have watched a movie."
That's the Terrifier.
And it scared me.
That's the Terrifier.
I had trouble going to sleep, and I was
Absolutely.
like, "Wow, he had trouble going to sleep. It would keep me up for days."
And for me, it's the psychological stuff,
Yeah.
because the blood and guts and stuff, it's funny to me. It's not when something creeps in my mind. That's what gets to me, and like you said, I chase that feeling.
And in the horror world, to me, the scariest movies are the ones that, like, when you watch them, like, for instance, you probably don't hear this a lot. My favorite horror movie is Hush. I don't know if you've ever watched Hush.
Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah, but to me, that's a scary movie, because the more that I could put myself in that situation, like, this could really happen. Like, this is some real life stuff. All this adds up, and it could really happen in this world.
That's right.
That's what scares me.
And that's the best horror to me.
I like a horror movie that gets me looking out my windows.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And I tell people, I think I've told you this all the time, like, the real monsters walk this earth right here.
They're really here.
They're here.
Yeah, they're really
here.
here.
They are sinners on this planet.
You know, and it's just things I didn't think about the horror world. I didn't put a lot of thought into it till, you know, me and you worked together and we hung out together, and I watched your channel. There's a lot of, like, you have to think about the thought that goes into these movies. Like, the people creating these movies have extremely deep minds,
and
much deeper than mine.
And a lot of them from real experience.
Exactly. Something scared this person at some point, and it's stuck in their mind.
Yep.
You know,
it's great stuff, man.
Yeah.
So, do you remember, besides Scream, do you remember ever seeing another movie as a kid that, whether you saw it, you know, late at night, that gave you, what was your first movie nightmare, if you had one?
I tell you, and it's not really, I don't consider it to be a horror movie. I can remember the first time I watched Blade. At an older friend's house.
Okay.
And it's something that my mom probably would have been like, "No, you're not watching that." And I remember laying in my bed that night and being like, "Oh gosh, vampires!" like I just remember laying in my bed and being like, "Oh, that they could be out there." And I was like, now I'm grown. I'm like, you know.
That was Wesley Snipes.
That was Wesley Snipes.
That was Wesley Snipes from White Men Can't Jump.
Yeah, but Wesley Snipes is a scary individual. Yeah. I can remember that terrorizing me for days. I had a fear.
That's great. Everybody's got that story as a kid.
Scream always, stick in your mind as, that's kind of your 90s kid first scare.
Yep. It was huge, man.
Yeah, I
remember being little how big it was. Every store had that ghost face mask.
Exactly.
Walmarts, Kmart's, those aisles of them.
And that's another thing that's cool about the horror world is everybody in this world, I don't care who they are, has a touch of horror in them.
Absolutely.
Not everybody loves going hunting and hanging out in the woods and hiking and fishing and boating and all that stuff like somebody like me might. But everybody likes a horror movie. Everybody.
That's right.
Everybody likes to watch a horror movie, no matter what you're into. If you're an underwater basket weaver, you like horror movies. That's just the way. You're going to go see the biggest horror movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me close with this. I want to ask you one more question, and this is not going to be for me. This is going to be for the audience and anybody who crosses this video that's not. What do you have to say now to anybody that says horror movie fanatics are strange people?
They're not. They're normal people. They walk this earth every day. There's thousands of them. They're not. I work with them. They're normal people. Every conversation you have with them is not going to be about horror. They're not into like drinking blood or doing anything strange.
Yeah. It's like we like comedy movies too.
Yeah, they like comedy movies too. It's if you got to give the horror world a chance, because
I like that.
there is horror is not just a scary movie. It's an art. It's
I like that
you
said
have
that.
you have to make when whoever gets their throat slit in that movie, it has to look real, or everyone's going to watch that scene all over America. And I say America, horror's worldwide, but they watch it and they say, "Oh, that looked terrible."
Right.
That one shot has to count for the whole world.
That's right.
And so yeah, give horror a chance, because it's a whole different world.
Hashtag
Christian Hannah Horror for your latest news and reviews on horror movies.
Daniel, I want to say thanks for coming here
Yes,
today,
sir.
and we will see you guys next time.